Hi, I'm Luca, and welcome to this episode of Do It Right, Dynamic Hydronic Balancing. Today, I'd like to provide more detail on how dynamic balancing valves give the maximum thermal comfort when used in water distribution systems. To do that, we should consider that the main purpose of mechanical or electronic dynamic balancing valves is to maintain consistent flow at the desired level as long as needed. This chart shows how the Siemens PACV maintains constant flow in the coil it is controlling, and it explains the reason why these valves are called pressure-independent control valves. Because they maintain constant flow irrespective of pressure fluctuations. However, this is just part of the story. In fact, as we have seen in the previous episode, if you want to achieve the highest energy savings possible, you need to reduce the energy you put in the environment as soon as this is not needed anymore. But what are the important factors we should make sure a PACV can actually deliver in order to assure they can most efficiently modulate the flow and reach the best energy performance? The first thing is that the actuator and the valve must be designed to operate as one. Many times I have seen valves and actuators coming from different sources and installed together, giving strange performance, like this chart for example. And this happens when an actuator has a longer stroke than the valve and there is a gap between the two stems of valve and actuator. In fact, when the building automation and control system tries to adjust the valve position through the actuator, in the upper part of the chart, nothing happens. The flow remains unchanged, and you end up with an on-off-like system. To prevent this, you must make sure the actuator has the so-called self-calibrating feature to eliminate the gap or dead band that would otherwise affect the system. The second feature, very important in a mechanical PACV, is that the currently preset flow should not reduce the stroke of the valve. When you reduce the stroke of the valve, you sacrifice important millimeters, which could have been used for better modulating performance. At Siemens, we call this feature full stroke modulation. And the last feature I'd like to talk about today is the fact that the shape of the characteristic control curve should not change when presetting your mechanical dynamic balancing valve. This is an example of a valve that has a good control curve at 100% open, but then heavily deviates from this when manually adjusting the flow down to the desired value. In the example shown on the screen, you can see how the shape of the control deviates when changing the flow presetting position. And this is something you really want to avoid. In fact, if you combine such a valve with a standard fan coil unit, you might think you are getting a linear system as a result of this combination, which we have detailed in the previous episode. But you actually get this, where the imperfectly shaped valve and actuator bundle is not able to fully compensate for the nonlinearity of the coil. So my suggestion, especially for big projects and big systems, is simple. Just ask for a proof of performance, which can be provided by issuing a test report from an independent testing institute. This is an example of what you should be getting. For linear control valves, see, all the curves are represented in the same chart, and they should have the exact same shape. Does not matter the presetting position. A similar behavior should be seen with equal percentage valves and actuators. At Siemens, we call this constant authority. And the three features just described, self-calibrating, full stroke modulating, constant authority, really make the difference among all PACV available in the market. In the next episode, we will describe how dynamic balancing valves interact with one of the most important elements of a hydronic system, the circulating pump. Thank you for watching. Do it right, dynamic hydronic balancing.